Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that we're hearing now clearly. I really had to cut off and ensure that I am back on, so I'm hoping that you're hearing me now very, very clearly and that we can start this evening's conversation, all right? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to stick in terms of the music playing. We would have had some technical difficulties prior, and so at this stage, we're hoping that persons can be reconnected and persons are actually coming back onto the stream in which, they can hear and listen. All right. So good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to say it feels really good to be back. It has been a while, and I know some of you all will be scolding me, as I said the last time. I would ensure that we make certain changes. And so we have made certain changes. Myself, along with management, have spoken. And so there are going to be some changes in terms of conversation and what we converse upon. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want us this afternoon to be able to have this conversation and have this conversation in the best way that we can. All right. So good evening to everybody over on my Facebook and YouTube page. As indicated earlier on, I know that you guys will be schooling me, right? I know there are some persons that are saying, come on, teacher man, what happened? But there have been some personal issues that I must have to have dealt with. And so I am happy at this stage that I am back and in a position to be able to deal with same. Blessed good evening to each and every one of you. As you can see, I am wearing one of the brightest smiles I could wear right now because I am really, really happy to be back with you guys and to be able to have conversations with you guys. It is always best sometimes. It is always best, yes, Glenda, I will. It is always best sometimes, people, to do some retrospecting. No man is perfect, and we all have issues in our life, and sometimes it requires retrospect, it requires prayers, it requires counseling if it goes to that point. It requires so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to say at this stage I have dealt with so many in such a short space of time, and I am happy to be back by God's grace and by His mercy and His grace. He is my only mentor to have gotten back thus far. It is always best to see you guys and have conversations. Today, I didn't plan today's programming. I said today we are going to have conversations in the manner in which we usually have conversations. Some persons want to give me the attention. I'm going to take it. I'm really going to take it because I know, ladies and gentlemen, some of you guys have really been. Good evening to Barbara Henry, listening all the way out there from in the cold, as she mentioned, in London. It is always a blessing to have you guys out there in the diaspora. Stay safe and protect yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, this was simply saying welcome back. My next conversation heads straight into Grenada's burning issue. And I'm not going to stick on today's conversation. As I said today, I didn't plan it. I don't write anything today. I am just going to, at the end of the day, speak from what God gave me, the knowledge. You understand? Somebody saying you have to write 500 lines. I would take whatever punishment. I'll take whatever punishment. But ladies and gentlemen, I want us to start today with this statement. And I want us to understand, sometimes when we speak politically, persons are of the opinion that you are hating on individuals and what they say and how they say it and how they do it. But I think it is only common sense, right? I think it is only common sense and understanding that could drive certain things on people. Many times you all hear persons talk on national television and other places, and you think to yourself, this man sounds really good. He real bright, or she's really bright, or she's really intelligent. But sometimes when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of things, you would realize that some people lack the basic understanding of what we consider to be responsibility. And a lot of times, you see power, power sometimes goes to the head of black people, or humans, I must say. When you give a man power, we need to understand the trend that we're taking. And I want to say to the many persons that are giving me the love, I want to say thank you guys so very much. Right? Many times you give persons power, and we don't understand that not everybody understand what power is. Many times persons see individuals in their positions and believe to yourself that that individual would have gotten there by whatever miracle you believe they got there. And they have gotten there and kept a position for a long time. And you start envying them. And you start saying to yourself, well, I could do that. And I can remember, and I think I gave this story here before, that at a stage when my father used to go to the garden, and sometimes my father comes back with golden apple and mangoes and whatever fruit, I always thought to myself, so then we come down with one or two or three. Sometimes my sister and I may have to share one. And sometimes I might like to myself, why is it, that I'm going under the mango tree and bringing down 2 and 3? Right? And I'm wondering, like, but the mango tree is right there. He could just pick 4 or 5 or maybe a bag and carry down. Until I was of the age where I myself could have gone to get mangoes. And the difficulty, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you go there and you realize it is not what you think, because the mangoes on the ground is spoiled, and those that are on the tree looking all ripe and nice, they're difficult to pick. And sometimes after my father's hard day's work, to sometimes stop and pick 4 or 5 or a bag, it is difficult for him. But me looking on, always believed that it was an easy task. So ladies and gentlemen, when they saw Dr. Mitchell's reign for 22 years, and they said that he was doing absolutely nothing, that nothing was being done by Dr. Mitchell, so they sat among themselves and say, well, Grenada is so easy to rule. Grenada is easy to rule. Why don't he just do this, and why don't he do that, and why don't he push that button, and why don't he do that? And just before the general election, he made a statement as one of the longest serving prime minister, not just in Grenada, throughout the Caribbean. And he spoke and said, ladies and gentlemen, that sometimes when you're getting into politics, it requires a training school. Because sometimes you have to understand the job that you're about to undertake. You need to understand the job that you're about to undertake. And I'm hoping that this clip plays for you guys to hear. So let me press play on this one right here.
Officer, I've been saying this. Not because I have premonition, Mr. Speaker, because it is clear the trend is obvious.
I don't know if you're hearing the clip.
Statistics on crime in the Caribbean will see that gun crime is a pandemic in the region, and that it was just going to be a matter of time before it reached our shores. That has nothing to do with the Prime Minister who holds the position of Minister of National Security.
What are you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you heard the last clip I played. Just indicate to me whether or not you heard it. It is low. Somebody saying it is low. So let me try playing that again for you guys.
Officer, I've been saying this. Not because I have premonition, Mr. Speaker, because it is clear the trend is obvious. Anybody who's reading the statistics on crime in the Caribbean will see that gun crime is a pandemic in the region, and that it was just going to be a matter of time before it reached our shores. That has nothing to do with the Prime Minister who holds the position of Minister of National Security.
No, again, I don't know if you all heard. I don't know if you all heard the clip that was played. But if you did not hear, this is a clip with the Prime Minister mentioning that if we read throughout the length and breadth of the Caribbean, that gun crime was being indicated all right, so persons are stating that they did. Right, good. So he's mentioning that throughout the Caribbean, gun crime has been evolved into the point where we were seeing a probable pandemic. And so it was just a matter of time that it got on our shores. And that if gun crime is an issue in the state of Grenada, it does not fall under him or to be blamed that it is his fault that this is happening. I have never heard something more ignorant from somebody holding a leadership position. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter how much you beat the bull, no matter how much you try to blame anything around it, at the end of the day, there are things that are going to fall back on you. And society must understand that. Something happens at a secondary school. Issues of violence at a secondary school. Do you believe that the news is going to go and look for every parent that has those kids involved and call them by name, or whether or not they would mention that X and Y school has a rise in crime, and who they would call on? The principal. It is most certain. If there are issues taking place at a church of infidelity, of whatever malpractice, despite wherever the pastor sits, when the blame is to be cast, it is casted on the pastor in the church. If a child is being delinquent in his or her home, and a blame is to be casted, that blame is going to be casted on the parenting of that child. So I cannot understand why the Prime Minister stands in the House of Parliament with the education that we believe that he should have and holds the minister or be the Minister of National Security, and there is a rise in gun crime, and he sits in his ministry and says that does not have anything directly to do with him. Because gun crime is not a health issue. Gun crime is not a housing issue. Gun crime is not an issue where persons are unemployed. Gun crime falls under the Ministry of National Security. So for the Prime Minister to sit in his intelligent mind and say it does not direct him, or it's not directed to him, or he's not the cause. No, you're not the cause. You're not the cause. We're not expecting to say, is the Prime Minister sharing out guns? But there is something called proactive measures, dear Prime Minister. So if you in the Office of National Security knew that the issue of gun crime would have sooner or later been on our shores, you wait for it to reach, escalate, and then you shine such dotishness with the Grenadian people. So when COVID-19 was a conversation throughout the length and breadth of the world, Dr. Mitchell should have sat in his chair and said to the Grenadian people, don't worry, don't wear masks. Don't wear masks. Dr. Mitchell and the Minister of National Security, should have said, don't wear masks. Don't sanitize. And the world is calling a pandemic. And then when he gets on our shores, Dr. Mitchell said, don't worry, I don't have nothing to do with that. That is not my business. That doesn't fall under the scope of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister stands in the House of Parliament and makes such an ignorant statement. And there are people out here saying, no, you don't like him. At the end of the day, the water on the estate is for the estate mule. Because if the issue is happening in Grenada, and it is an issue of national security, national urgency, dear Prime Minister, you hold the Minister of National Security, it falls directly under your ministry. Nobody got to sit you down and tell you that. Because it is something that falls within your scope. You are mentioning to the Grenadian people that if you read, so a hurricane is coming into Grenada, and you tell people, don't worry, man, Lime, chill out. Don't get prepared. Don't listen to Nadma. Because you're mentioning that if we read, and it seems like you have prior knowledge, that the issue have been an issue, that it has been a growing pandemic throughout the length and breadth of the Caribbean. You admitted that. So you knew for yourself as a prime minister that the issue of gun and gun-related crimes throughout the Caribbean was on a rise. You knew and you admitted that it sooner or later would have been on our shores. And as a prime minister, when taking office, you knew there was an issue. The question posed, Mr. Prime Minister, what are your proactive measures with such knowledge did you emphasize? What did you do? Did you heighten the amount of vests the police have? Did you increase along with the... Well, I don't even want to call him a commissioner because according to him. Because you cannot say to me that at the end of the day, that persons are still sitting wherever they sit and in the name of politics still defend such derogative statements and such derogative practices on the basis of what you support a party. The Prime Minister is basically saying in local terminology that the rise in gun crime in Grenada does not fall directly under his scope. They're not in business. If you so alone to hear it in local terms. Because at the end of the day, it is you. The people are looking on you. Governance comes with that work. You all should have read it. Go into the training school or you don't listen. It comes with such responsibility. I could recall when Sun Hot in Grenada was Dr. Mitchell. Rainfall, a bus meet up in an accident. A child is missing, a man get killed. And it was Dr. Mitchell's fault. And he had to sit there as Prime Minister and broaden it back and take every single blows that came with it. Every single blow that came with it at the time, Dr. Mitchell had to stand it. No matter what happened in the state of Grenada, everybody, Kit Mitchell and the administration, Kit Mitchell and NNP, and now you have an issue of such grievance. You didn't call it a problem, a pandemic. You hear how serious he knew it is, or he knows it is? He knew it was a pandemic. He knew it was a burning issue. If you read, and he said it. Hey, let me help them again. I want all you go home dance today. I've never heard something so stupid. I've never heard something so dotish. So who to blame? Who do we call on? Answer me. Who do we call on when you hearing the Commissioner of Police? And I want to get that clip too. I want to get that clip to be able to play it, because he's another one, and I'll get to them in a while, because you're not hearing. You didn't hear somebody saying that they didn't hear the clip. I don't know, somehow or the other, this is one of the issues I'm having today, ladies and gentlemen. And if you didn't hear the clip, I'm hoping that I can fix that. Let me see if I could link my device on the system in order to get one of the clips that I want to play. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So the Prime Minister, somebody said no one Right. I want to ensure that let me try playing that clip again. Let me ensure that let me see how many of you all may hear it. All right. I don't know if you heard it this time. I don't know if you heard it this time. But it's basically the Prime Minister saying to our people, right, that, hey, gun crime, we know gun crime is an issue. And the Prime Minister is making the justification in this day and age that he knew for a fact that it is an issue, but however, somebody saying still not hearing. I don't know. I really don't. Let me try this instead. Let me try this. Let me try this. I want to ensure that I get it right.
From the time I've been in office, I've been saying this. Not because I have premonition, Mr. Speaker, because it is clear, the trend is obvious. Anybody who's reading the statistics on crime in the Caribbean will see that gun crime is a pandemic in the region, and that it was just going to be a matter of time before it reached our shores. That has nothing to do with the Prime Minister who holds the position of Minister of National Security.
Right, so I'm guessing you guys got it. Yeah. So this is the words of the Prime Minister. And I'm saying, that's slack. Ladies and gentlemen, that is downright slackness. A statement like that, why would you even make it? And then you have the commissioner making one like this. Let me get it for you guys. Commissioner of Police in his good sense today, where we're going to take a little piece from what good people is and what bad people is. But just listen to this piece here. This is one there. This one they would listen to Mr. Martin when we had one of the issues in his press conference.
We are here to work for you, and it is in furtherance of your peace and safety. We cannot do this alone.
You are speaking about issues kind of like way above my pay grade.
Are you hear that? The Commissioner of Police answers a question today, and his answer states that a question is being posed to him that is way above his pay grade. Tomorrow I'll try to get the whole clip because I don't want to give you like a piece. I want you to listen. I cannot, state the question how it was posed or phrased properly, but I will ensure that I get it for you tomorrow. So the Prime Minister is stating that the issues of gun crime does not directly, is not he to be blamed in a nutshell. And then the Commissioner of Police is saying that questions that are being posed to him concerning gun crime is above his pay grade. So I wonder who is really responsible. I wonder who is responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listen to me. The issue of gun-related crime is a great issue, and it has left the pen. It is no more at the stage whereby we could control it. And I've been frank with you guys. The RGPF, along with the Minister of National Security, who failed to be one, proactive, two, to take measures when it started to escalate. Because remember, since May of last year, we had a press briefing from the RGPF. Since last year, we had a briefing when it comes to the rise that we saw in gun-related crimes. Now we wait in February of the next year. Just a few months shy, and then you're saying to the Grenadian people now when to address issues that have left the pen. Because look at where you have gotten to. Our very famous Grandans Beach. Our very famous Grandans Beach. With both foreign and locals alike in our vending market. Ladies and gentlemen, if we at this stage are going to accept this on the premise of, well, it's we party, then all well and good. But let me say to you, ladies and gentlemen, I am not ready, I am not willing to live in a Grenada like this. Because the RGPF, at this stage, and after this morning's press conference, I am now convinced that the lack of knowledge and understanding of just being able to secure our nation's people is an issue. Persons have questions that have been raised concerning the 3 escaped prisoners. Persons have questions concerning what happened with the altercation on Grandans Beach. The continued issues of gun here and gun there and issues in countryside and tongue and nobody. You basically heard over the weekend persons calling. You were actually hearing persons calling on the RGPF and the Minister of National Security to make a statement concerning issues that concerning violence and violent practices within the state. So let me tell you, you all are the ones who voted for them. You are the one. And at the end of the day, you gave them a job, and you telling me you don't have the mandate to tell them that, hey, you're playing the fool? Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, at the time he was sitting in the chair, every time he leave, all you had something to say. We have a pilot running this country. We have a pilot running this country in this technological age where everything now is Zoom. You having big meetings, international meetings, summits, and you have leaders throughout the length and breadth of this world sitting behind a computer on Zoom and all these other things. But every time you listen to GBN News, you hear that the Prime Minister is out. Sorry, the pilot is out. You're looking on national television. You're going far out and far abroad, and you're hearing on CNN and other news now that Lucky Grenada is the scope of a conversation that is speaking as it relates to 2 foreign nationals that are alleged to be missing. And they came from our shores. And then the Prime Minister liming. He going in Gale. What are we coming to? What is not the understanding that this is an important issue? You telling me that the Prime Minister should not have been sitting with the Commissioner of Police today and the other puppy show that was there? You telling me not a representative today that represent the government of Grenada sat in this press conference today? Nobody of interest, of the people's interest, was sitting today. Nobody sat with the officers to even show a little support. Maybe the PS or somebody from a ministry to come just to sit there. Not somebody say not even the AG. to sit there, ladies and gentlemen, to assure the Grenadian people that, hey, we are working along with the RGPF. They just show the RGPF under the bus. So they are not going to do a press conference for themselves just now. Wait for it. During COVID-19. And I could bring you back to that because I like to draw references. When you saw the team of persons that dealt with press conferences, you saw the Minister of Health, you saw persons within the ministry, the Chief Medical Officer. They sat because this shows that this is not the government working for themselves. This is different entities and ministries working together. And when you have the Commissioner of Police and his papi show in a press conference, and then you have the government doing one, where are you seeing the teamwork? Where are you seeing the teamwork? Where is Mr. Fix-It? Where is Mr. Fix-It and Miss Know Everything? Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope they don't block my program, but old people, how you grow up in country, old people say you never know the skin of your ass until you swallow a plum seed. Or you jump around in the early stage of governance. Pitch your here and pitch your there. And you all thought that was governance, man. The people are going to vote for us again. Now that the shit hit the fan, you're understanding what administration of governance really is. Or you understand the sleepless nights Dr. Mitchell would have had. You all understand now when Mr. Steele used to look like he don't get in no sleep. This is where you put the will to the streets and to the road. This is where we realize who are belly and who are guts. And you get silent. Very silent. I'm seeing an excerpt on Facebook that is calling on the parliamentary representative for the south of the island. The same parliamentary representative that posted that any problem you have anywhere in Grenada, call me. Call me. Right now he moved like a Ziploc bag. Somebody had to help pull the thing across in order for it to open. Because when you all took office, photographs, and all nice conversation, and all the projects that NNP don't do, and how much people are you want to go home, and how much people are you want to jaconously send home, and too much NNP inside. Well, NNP gone. And you took how much time to get rid of the NNPs? You understand me? Ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is this. The fact, not the hearing, not a feeling. The fact of the matter is they realize now the thing gets sticky. They realize now, ladies and gentlemen, that the thing gets rough. So you know all the noise in the market that you heard earlier on, you don't get it again. It gets tough, ladies and gentlemen. The training school Dr. Mitchell was speaking about, this is it. This is the training school. This is where he spoke about making sure that governance, empathy, being sympathetic, understanding people. You have violence kicking left, right, and center. And they can't come. How they go come? Where they go come? How they managing to come? They can't come. Because no, the cheap politics that was on the front burner is of no more. Is of no more. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this, what we saw in the early stage, was not governance. Government is to prepare and put things in place for the betterment of our people. Consummation, economics, health, youth development, housing. Those are things that government try to initiate, try to put in place. Government is not expected to deal with issues when they happen. Government have to be more proactive than any other entity within any country. Government have to put things in place. With pension, with payments, with planning. It could have 6,000 needles and gauze and so on at the general hospital. There is nothing wrong in ordering 600 more because government need to be proactive. Government need to speak to other entities, and if it means that they have to have some programs for the RGPF because there is an issue throughout the length and breadth of the Caribbean. So if we have expertise that could come and aid, like countries that have been dealing with the issues before, and maybe come and teach us a two little thing. Celebrating 50 years of independence and what we have to present to our people that are looking on. Gun crime. Here's what we have. We had a commissioner of police, they proclaim it, oh well. By the time he walk out at the fort, he get about 3 phone calls for another job. And never see an unhealthy man get work fast so. And never see an unhealthy man get work fast so. By the time he could reach down, by when the police just called traffic on the hill, send cry call him. By the time he reached down by courts, they call him in the region to deal with gun. By the time he reached it at the home, he have other calls. And never see a sick man get job so yet. Everybody go there now, and all you used to talk about eat a food. Right now, all you do eating food, and if all you eating food, and then people used to eat food by the plate, all you eating food by the pot. We and then people used to eat food in like a styrofoam. Them fellas used to eat food in styrofoam. But now all you eating food by the pot, big pot of food all you eating, because they eat a food mentality. And what all you can eat, all you go throw for the dog. Who pick up the scraps? They pick up the scraps. All of them. Loud. And still trying to make justification for what is simple common sense. This is not politically driven. A gunshot that leaves the chamber doesn't say NNP or NDC. This is a country's issue. All and sundry needs to come on board and accept the fact that we are having an issue, and despite who is there, you need to help. You need to help. I remember sometime last year when the Prime Minister called on even the opposition, and Dr. Mitchell and them made certain attempts to have certain conversation. You're not running a peaceful country. The country is not at peace. The little Grenada that many persons know that was peaceful. You've seen levels of violence all over the place. Nonsensical. Persons doing anything, whatever they feel. And are we to accept that on the basis of what? Well, how are we accepting that? On what grounds are we accepting such practices? Because I vote for NMP? I vote for NDC? And mind you, I'm speaking to the NMP people too, you know. It is our country. We can be okay. You know they had the gun. Go and report it. Because you never know who, ladies and gentlemen, that this firearm is going to pass on. And let me say that to you as an ex-police officer. A gun makes you feel indispensable. When you have a firearm in your hand, or you're in possession of a firearm, you believe to yourself that you are indispensable. Nobody can do you nothing. That is one. And then two, your lack of training and the ability that you believe that you have could cause so much destruction in which you cannot control. And ladies and gentlemen, if we are not going to deal with that as a people, and whatever side of the table we're on, is going to be a sad Grenada for us. Today's press conference is a typical example, ladies and gentlemen, as it relates to how far-fetched, how clueless even the RGPF is on this issue. And they are not getting the support from government. So all they have to do now is try to come and make an excuse. I don't know when they go stop sending that gentleman to do any press conference in Grenada. Think he know big word? Think he could say nice thing? And all they feel he could trick the masses. Calling on the RGPF to stop sending this gentleman to do any press conference. He's a politician. He's not a police. From the time I knew him, he's a politician. He's not a police. So he does not think security. He thinks as to where the next rank is coming from. And whose shoulder he could rub to go upward in rank. Yeah, man, asking a question today about he's not in position to answer this, son. We catch you with the voice note already. So all what you come there and you don't try to play nice and we know you. We know. A dog sucking egg is sucking egg. We know. Stop bringing on to the thing. And many persons are not going to listen to RGPF press conference once this gentleman is there. Because we know. You understand me? So ladies and gentlemen, this is the burning issue. And we're not seeing support with the RGPF and the government of the day. Because I am certain that in a press conference like this that was held this morning, it is the expectation of the RGPF the government to have made themselves present. Show that level of camaraderie. Show that level of love. Go and sit down there, evaluate that to answer, evaluate that thing, and because somebody would want to know, okay, what is the government is doing to help curb such an issue, working along with the police. Nobody can answer that. We hand up in the air, so everybody at gunpoint. Not even the acting Prime Minister, Hollywood. Set of actors we have nowadays. Every time you turn, somebody acting. Every time you turn so, somebody acting. Somebody acting so, somebody acting so. Hollywood government. Set of actors. And we have accepted that. We do. So you all need to help. Come up with something. Hey, we want to know. We want to know. We want the help. We want the help. All right, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, this I had a rocky start, but I really do appreciate the persons that have come here this evening and listen on. Right? We need to understand that sometimes there are things that are politically driven, and there are things that as a people we need to understand. It's an issue. It's an issue. We're not talking about that in that ministry and that in that ministry. These are things that are happening on the streets of Grenada. We're not expecting at the end of the day government to just wake up and all gun collected. But you must come up with strategical ways. You must come up with initiatives. Persons must have ideas as to how we tackle that issue. How we tackle such an issue. No, because persons are saying no, persons are leaving the police force. They just now going and pick up any little boy and girl on the road, and then they're sending them in training school for 6 weeks, and they're coming back out and dies the police. I spent close to 6 months. I spent close to 6 months as a trainee, and their persons now coming and spend 6 weeks. How are you saying to me that this is a full-fledged officer who might understand? Listen to me. 6 weeks takes to break out the civilian attitude in you. Because to be 20-something odd years into a life and then to transform into this, it takes a long time. Because you have to now inculcate a new culture in you. And as I started by saying, it's one that requires power. Because to every police officer, When you change from that civilian life and realize that you could do certain things and the privileges that you have in able to enforce, not force, enforce, it gives the normal man, not the normal thinking. Because some of them believe that they will believe, is it? Young officers now always, by the time you turn somebody on social media with some officer doing something, some of them justifiable, some not justifiable. And it is all because, ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing that officers are one, they are not being, they're not there. You're looking at officers that have friends that are police officers, and you're not seeing the enthusiasm. You've seen certain officers in town, you're going and buy lunch, you're coming back an hour and a half, 2 hours to go back in your office. You're going in the office and come back, and these officers are standing in the same place. You saw the recent video where they had to basically tell the officer, go and help a man. Go and help the officer. When right there and then, once you reach on a scene like that, in your mind, firearm, persons are being violent, your immediate thought as a police officer is to ensure that it does not escalate to a level. I'm not saying to go and beat up people, you know. But you have to know when you get on the ground what you are there for. Young officer in a bulletproof vest and it look like, you know, he just come out and buy 2 eggs and he murder, so he pass in the wrong place and somebody just pull him and tell him, give me a little help here. We ought to be careful and understand this. This comes from the helm. This comes from the helm. Because there are issues that happens and you hear it, they jump about it, you hear they talking about it. But there are certain things, ladies and gentlemen, because you want, and listen to me, this recruitment you see that is taking place, is just to simply say to the people, what? Even if you believe in the force, we could hire a few. The government don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. To prove to anybody that you could, because you're spending a money in which you're not getting results. So the state is at a loss, more or less. Ladies and gentlemen, I would end this evening's program on this. And we hope to again meet tomorrow where we could converse and have more conversations like this. Right? I really would have infringed way over my time and I don't want to go any more further. All right? But it was a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. There are some changes that I need to be making to the program, and as I indicated, today is the first day of the Monday airing. You will hear me on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays in going forward, and that is to accommodate, one of the programs that many persons have been following, that is Sister Jenny's program. And so we have now moved it to Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays so that you all can get all the information when they're being exerted. All right? I want to say thank you so very much for the persons on my Facebook and YouTube page that would have jumping and listened to me this afternoon. I realized I went up to a rapid with 140 something persons at least. Either they miss me or they really like what I'm saying. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure being here. I'm going to be back here tomorrow where the conversation continues. You're going to hear more as it relates to the conversations that we're having. However, I didn't get a chance to play much clips today, but tomorrow we are going to go more in depth into a lot of more conversations as it relates to how the government, along with many other persons and entities, may want to tackle such an issue. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Even my music, you're not going to hear the music too well. So I would just be switching off this evening's and ending today's streaming. Thank you so very much again for listening on God's blessings, and we will see you again tomorrow. I know some persons do have to listen. I do have ads and so on to play, but we will do so tomorrow. As I said, the system is really not working the way I want it to work this evening. But thank you so very much for coming in and listening. God's blessings to each and every one of you. We will see you again tomorrow. I want to say good evening. I think I saw my daughter. And my daughter came in today. She said, my father, so good evening to you, Leila. And God blessings. We would see shortly. All right. Love you so very much. Good evening to my wife and my stepkids. Also to my son, good evening to you. My entire family, my daddy, my sisters, my brother. And this is a nephew. Good evening to everybody, especially to the persons out there in St. Mark's. Good evening to you guys. I love you guys so much. And there will be much more interactive with myself and the persons in St. Mark's in weeks and days ahead. All right. So thank you so very much for listening. God's blessings to you guys. And we'll see you again tomorrow. All right.